What kind of research did you do for the Doctor?
I watched the show from when I was 3 years old. That's the research I did. I literally watched every single episode and then went back when I was old enough and when they started appearing on VHS. I watched every episode from before I was born. And I was a proper fan. I knew that show inside out. So I didn't really, there wasn't much I had to find out that I didn't know.
Please put your hands together for David Tennant and Billie Piper.
Hello, lovely people.
Hello. It looks like people are excited to see you.
This is very nice. This feels this feels like the UN or something.
It's a very big crowd.
It is. Thank you all for coming today. First things first.
Thanks for coming.
What is it like to be back on Doctor Who? For both of you.
David?
Well, I'm not back on it as far as I know, unless you're about to reveal something to me. I think
recently back on Doctor Who.
I think I'm finished for now, but unlike someone else.
No comment. You were on quite recently.
Quite recently, which was lovely, yes. Thank you. It's a lovely thing to go back to. It was very nice for me to go and do 3 episodes after 15 years of not being part of it, because it felt so familiar. So it was such a happy, formative, important time that to get to revisit that sort of without the pressure, knowing you were just in for a bit, so you didn't have the pressure of not breaking it. You just got to go back and enjoy everything that it had meant to you and everything that it meant to the audience, and to dabble in that again was just delicious. It was like being given a lovely present. It was really nice.
When I went back recently, I just found it very emotional and also really last minute. So everything happened in a sort of cloak and dagger way. And also it's that thing of having to hold a secret for a while from even the closest people in your life. I actually really enjoy it, holding a secret.
They kept your secret really well.
They really did, because there was, I think, some people were suggesting that it would happen, but it didn't really catch fire. So I was quite amazed that we did as well as we did. And I found it really emotional, actually. Like, when I shot it, I actually had a bit of a cry.
Yeah.
It was quite a moving experience. So yeah, it was awesome.
Speaking of keeping secrets, you have to keep a lot of secrets. Fans are super engaged and want to know what's happening next. What do you have to get smuggled in places? Like, what have you had to do to keep the secrets kind of hidden?
Just lie. Lie to everyone you know and love. Yeah.
Worryingly, it gets easier once you start. At first, the lies to people that you know and love and trust can be very difficult and feel very treacherous.
And they get really angry as well when they find out. My kids were like, "How could you not tell us? We're your kids. You're my mother."
But once you start leaning into lying, there's something
very fun about it.
It's almost Moorish. Yeah.
That is amazing. So you both weirdly got to return to your characters and have, not this recent time, Billie, but when you first returned, you got to have this new ending for Rose, which for us was all very bittersweet and sad and kind of beautiful. Were you really sad about it, or was it really exciting to return and rewrite Rose's ending?
I felt the same. I felt like it was kind of bittersweet. It was, it's always wonderful to return. It's super fun. It feels comforting because you've spent significant sort of formative times with the people, cast and the crew. And yeah, I felt sort of mixed about that ending. But that's okay. I think that's okay to feel like that, You can't always have what you want.
Yeah, some of the best endings are bittersweet. Like, David, you recently returned to the Doctor.
Yes.
Also really bittersweet, kind of a rewrite of the ending of the 10th Doctor.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I love it. I'm now sitting in a back garden in West London eating macaroni cheese made by Bonnie Langford. I mean, that's sort of my dream life. I thought it was lovely and, unexpected. And when it's a character that's been around for all these years and that so many stories have been told, not just on TV, but in novels and comic books and audio dramas. And, this character has been examined and re-examined and speculated on. And to find a new sort of story to tell and to give a new ending to one version of that character, I think it's fantastic. I think it's a lovely way of just keeping that legend a bit fresh.
Because Doctor Who has such a long history and so many people have worked on it, there's a lot of Who alumni out there. Do you constantly run into people who have worked on Doctor Who on your current projects?
I guess so, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, no, you do. Well, I now do a show called Rivals thank you. And my wife on that is Claire Rushbrook, who was an astronaut with me in the Satan Pit 20 years ago. We spent
oh my God!
We spent a week of night shoots. Yeah.
I was just thinking, when was she in?
Yeah. We spent a week of night shoots in a quarry, freezing to death in spacesuits. And now we have this lovely big house in the Cotswolds together.
She's wonderful.
That does happen quite a lot, yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Is there any? Am I missing? I don't know that I have. I don't think I have worked with the same people over and over.
No?
I mean, I have worked with the producers a number of times, which is really comforting to me since I've known them since I was, 21. But yeah, maybe some of the crew mostly, but I'm not sure my paths have crossed with any other actors, but I'm sure I've got that wrong.
So you mentioned 20 years, David, which is why I'm going to ask this. Your original time on Doctor Who was about 20 years ago now.
I know, isn't that ridiculous?
It's like yesterday, right?
Well, it doesn't make sense mathematically. Because I'm now 34, I think.
And I'm 24.
Yeah. We were much younger than you would have thought when we did Doctor Who.
4-year-old and a 10-year-old.
We were still at school.
What are your favorite memories from that time?
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it was my first big acting job. So for me, it was my first experience at going to work every day and finally doing something I really loved. So that felt amazing. That's an amazing experience, and not everybody gets to have a job that they love. And so I remember feeling very moved by that. And we had a real laugh. We just had a laugh. We basically lived in Wales.
Yeah.
The crew became the family. We didn't go out loads, did we? We didn't really have time. And we were filming at night a lot.
Yeah.
But most of our fun was had on set, and it was just, it was a formative experience.
Yeah, it was sort of giddy making. I remember at the time being aware that it was unlike anything else that I was likely to experience, because apart from that, it's a particularly joyous show to be part of, but it's got a sort of, it gets a level of attention and enthusiasm, particularly in the UK, but now internationally, which is so unique. There's not really any other show that has that sort of cross-generational enthusiasm, and being in the middle of that was sort of bewildering and dizzy-making and wonderful, and also a little bit scary and a little bit exposing, and all those things. But I do remember at the time thinking, this is quite unique, this time of life.
Yeah.
And when I look back on it now, that was absolutely true. It was. I feel very grateful to have had that time, and to have something, to have a portion of time that one looks back on so fondly and with such affection, and that still is such a huge part of my life. You come here and everyone's, giddy about it, and it's wonderful. Yeah. Just feels like a really lucky thing to have happened.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because when you both started at different times, Billie, when you started, they were just rebooting the show, so nobody knew if there would be a huge audience for it. What was it like to see the audience for Doctor Who regrow?
It blew my mind, really. I really didn't have any expectations for what happened after the show came out. For me, I was just so in awe and preoccupied with acting professionally, and I was so grateful for that. That the scale of it beyond that, I was never able to truly comprehend. And obviously, we didn't have social media then, so you never got a sense of whether people were rooting for it or wanting it to fail, unless you read the newspapers, which I didn't. Thank God. I'm so grateful for not having social media in the early stages of my life generally, but also professionally. So yeah, when it came out and it went as big and it became as big as it did, I was kind of shocked, to be honest. I was sort of shocked that we pulled it off because the BBC were working with technology that they hadn't really used before on a TV show. So there were a lot of firsts for everyone, and that's quite hard to pull off. And I think we were relieved when we did. But yeah, the size of it, I found it quite overwhelming, to be honest. Yeah, I've got used to it now, but at the beginning I was a bit like, this fandom is a thing.
Absolutely. David, when you joined in, it was going. The show was going, and you have all this pressure. You're the new Doctor. This was your lifelong dream. What was that like, joining the show as it was going?
Well, I knew, before the first episode went out, I knew that I was sort of heading for it. There was obviously the chance that it might not have taken, and that the show might never have, probably wouldn't have even shown a final moment where the Doctor turned into me, if it had been decided it wasn't going to be renewed, I guess. But I was in this slightly weird position of watching it transmit with a vested interest that nobody knew I had, sort of thinking, what is this, how's this going to go, what's this going to mean? And then kind of being thrilled and rather terrified that it took off like a rocket, and that in the knowledge, which at the time was not a knowledge that was shared outside a very small circle of people, that by the end of that series I was going to be in the middle of it. So it was a weird, exciting and also very daunting kind of thing to be watching sort of from afar, and yet absolutely in the center of. Very peculiar situation to be in, but very exciting.
Matt Smith told me a story of, it's exactly the same story you've just told, of when we went to a festival together. Do you remember, all three of us?
At the Glastonbury?
Yeah. Was it Glastonbury?
Was it?
It might have been V.
V, yes,
Matt
yes,
and I
yes.
went together, and you turned up, I think, with someone else, and you just become the Doctor, and Matt says he remembers seeing you walk through the crowd getting absolutely hounded. and him... I know he wasn't just a Doctor, but anyway, him thinking that looks deeply overwhelming.
Right.
And then it happened to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to go to fan questions in just a second, but last question, do you have a favorite episode that you remember enjoying shooting?
Oh, I enjoyed so much of it. I think the ones that I love shooting Doomsday, even though it was really sad, because it just sort of felt real to me. Like, it was just a sort of great way to get rid of a load of sadness I had about leaving the show. So I loved that. I loved Tooth and Claw. I just thought it was so funny. It was such a romp, and Shirley Valentine. and then I love Father's Day as well. I thought that was a beautiful episode.
Somebody else liked that.
Yeah. But I loved the fun of New Earth with Cassandra and things like that too. Nothing with a Cyberman.
That was right.
Oh no, the Cybermen were in the last two episodes.
They were yeah.
Everyone was in the last two.
You mean the ones that were freezing cold?
The ones that we shot.
When you had to wear that tiny waitress dress in the middle of the night in Cardiff in the snow.
Yeah, exactly. So none of those. What
Not
about
them.
you?
I feel like it's almost indecent to have a favourite. Feels like choosing because they're all so different. They're all very unique. They were all very unique experiences because they all had different casts. They all were in different sets. They all had such a different feel to them that they feel so idiosyncratic and of themselves that it feels a bit wrong to choose favourites. I have fond memories of every single one, actually. I suppose I remember the episodes, Journey's End episodes, when everyone was there, when there was just the gang of us all together, sort of for the first and only time when we were all on set. The whole kind of family was on set together. I remember that very fondly. But I do have genuinely look back on every episode with a twinkle, and I remember good things about each one.
But which was your least favourite to shoot?
Least favourite to shoot? Our season together was definitely the coldest year. We had a lot of really, really cold times.
Yeah, that's true.
So I remember another day when you'd get into the trailer and your costume was set out with piles and piles of thermal underwear to try and
your heart would
squeeze
sink,
on under, and you just thought, no, another day of being cold all day. But I still, even with that, I'm still very fond of the whole time.
The sacrifices that were made to make Doctor
Sacrifices.
Who. Let's take some fan questions. Do we have mics? Yes. I think this person in the green up here. If you could tell your name, where you're from, and then your question, please.
Here comes a microphone.
Hi, thank you. My name is Juan. I'm from Ontario.
Hi.
Hi. First of all, thank you so much for making the time to come out to these kinds of conventions.
It's a treat for us.
No, I know, but you have to take away time from your family or shooting, and it's really appreciated to get the chance to meet you guys. My question for you, both of you, outside of Doctor Who, what's an underrated role from your entire filmography that you're really proud of and you think that more people should watch?
Oh.
I know the answer to that.
Go on.
I've actually got two. I Hate Suzie is something, is the show I'm most proud of, I think, just because I worked really closely on that from the ground up. And it didn't get seen by a lot of people, which is really annoying. So if you fancy it, there's actually an episode at a Comic-Con, so if that piques your interest. But yeah, that's one that I feel like should have got more attention, and even the character. And then Penny Dreadful as well. Although it feels like a lot of people here have seen it, I'm not sure. Well, it didn't get the energy that other shows had got.
Yeah. I think probably for me it's a show, a BBC show called There She Goes, which was... Oh, thank you.
I love that. That was amazing.
I thought it was really special because it was it was sort of autobiographical for the writers. They wrote about their life, which is they have two children, one of whom has a very special set of special needs, and they write about that and how difficult that is, and they're very honest about that, and they're very it's very truthful. Sometimes it's almost unbearably truthful. It's also very funny and full of love, but sort of unstintingly honest about how difficult that can be. So it's also about more generally, it's about a specific set of family circumstances, but it's also about parenting, more generally, actually. And I think it was beautifully written, and it was very well received. But it was on BBC Four, which is a tiny, tiny channel back home, and then eventually it moved on to BBC Two and got a bit more attention. But I just think it was such an honest thing for them to write, and it was beautifully realised by the crew that made it. So that probably for me is the thing that I wish everyone could see. Yeah.
Get it on Netflix.
Thank you on Netflix.
No, you should.
You should get on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's probably on BritBox, I suspect.
You should campaign.
Was
it's on Prime.
It's on Amazon Prime.
It's on Prime.
Amazon Prime. I can't believe you haven't seen it. Lazy people, lazy.
Thank you for your question and for the Prime answer. Right up here. Oh, to your left, right there.
Look at that giant lightsaber.
Ooh, giant lightsaber.
Hi.
Where are you? Hi.
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to say thank you for making that show and being on it. It has a very warm place in my heart because my siblings and I would make time to watch it. And we just loved it so much. So I just want to say thank you.
You're so welcome.
That's so sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much. Right here in the pink.
There's two. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm from here in LA. I wanted to say first, Billie, you're the most beautiful woman on the planet.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to know if there was another character from a different season of Doctor Who that you didn't get to interact with that you would want to.
I got to do a bit of stuff with Matt, I suppose, but I probably would have liked a bit more just because he's a really close friend of mine. So time with him would have been very fun. I don't know anybody. I mean, yeah, I think it would be Matt. I think he would be my choice. A few episodes with him would be nice. Sorry.
You could call that a betrayal. No, I would like to have done more with Matt as well. Actually, I got to do an episode with Matt.
Really?
Yeah, but it was such fun. He's so great to play with. For me, I've got a very specific answer to that, which is someone, because I grew up watching the show, so I'm an old school fan. And one of the very exciting things for me was when I got to work with Elizabeth Sladen, who, of course, I had grown up with. She was the Rose of my childhood. So to work with her was amazing. And then she did her own show called The Sarah Jane Adventures. And I went and got to do an episode of The Sarah Jane Adventures, which was great fun, as the Doctor. But in the original script for that, the Brigadier was going to appear, played by Nicholas Courtney, who, of course, again, I'd grown up. He was part of the show when I was a kid. And the idea that I was going to get to do more with Liz, who by then I knew very well, and she was just wonderful, and that I was going to get to be in an episode with the Brigadier as well. And then just before we started shooting it, unfortunately, Nicholas Courtney took ill and wasn't able to be part of it. So that was something that I really regretted, that I never got to be on screen with him.
Thank you so much for your question. Here. Oh, there's a child right there with a stuffed animal.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. So my name's Xanatos, and here's my question. If you have to rewrite a Doctor Who episode, what would it be about?
Whoa.
Thank you. That's a really hard question. Thank you. Oh, what would it be about?
I think writing Doctor Who's really difficult.
Really hard.
And I'm really glad there are really clever people like Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat who can do it. Because I sometimes do set myself a challenge, going, if I was going to write an episode of Doctor Who, what would it be about?
Blank.
And then I sit blankly. And I don't know where to begin. I think it's really hard stuff to write. It needs a particular type of brain and imagination. I suppose there are things like periods in history it would be nice to visit. And I always wanted to do one where you went back, where they went back and met the Beatles. But then they've just done that one, and I wasn't in it. Furious. So maybe I'd do the Beatles in the cavern when they were just starting out, before they knew they were going to become the Beatles, and watch the Doctor try not to give them spoilers about what was in their very near future. Maybe that would be fun.
Yeah, I would do a musical one.
Yeah.
But then they've just done
They've done that too.
I know. So
Wait till we go.
I would do that. I would love to have done that. But also I would have probably liked to have done an episode with Jackie that was just maybe all about, I don't know, so slightly more domestic, I say, like an episode about our experiences together growing up, her being a single mom. I guess you got a bit of that in Father's Day, but I would love to have explored the mother-daughter dynamic in a whole episode, with you popping in and out. And
Oh, I get to pop in and out, do I?
Only a little.
I don't get a week off.
yeah.
Thank you so much for your question. We have a question here in the purple.
Okay, so in one episode you talk about we're all stories in the end, so make it a good one. So if you were able to write your own story, a script, based on your life experiences, would it still be in the same genre, or where would you explore in terms of your autobiography? Would writing a story, if you could, what would you were talking about history? Can you maybe enunciate, would you write something about history? Either one of you.
A horror. No. Well, maybe. Yeah, why not? I'd write... yeah, I think I love it when people take a sort of, I don't know, like an emotional story and invest it and set it in a genre world. Like, for example, the Demi Moore film, The Substance. I love that because it was about, you know, the pain of getting older as a woman and, you know, how unfair a lot of that is as a female experience. And so I'd probably copy that and make it a sort of, you know, a dark, comedic horror. Yeah, that feels kind of appropriate.
Great. I have zero plans to exploit my own biography in any way. I've never been interested in it, and I can't imagine anyone else would. And I think it's preferable to maintain a bit of mystery, because then people might think I'm more interesting than I actually am. I honestly, it's only because I've not told you anything about my actual life, which is very dull and very low-key. But yeah, so I probably am not going to write that thing. I'm probably going to leave it to someone else.
Thank you so much for your question. Right up here.
I'm sure as actors, like, you guys have such schedules that like overlap. What is it? Thank you. What is it like when you have those schedules and the characters you play are so different? How is it switching between those characters?
I couldn't quite hear that.
Switching between characters on a tight actor schedule.
Oh, as if when we when we're doing, yeah, actually that happened. I was shooting Secret Diary of a Call Girl at the same time as Kami, one of the Christmas episodes.
Were you?
Yeah, I can't remember I'd finished Doctor Who, but it was a flashback.
Right.
Well, maybe it was for one of the times I came back. I can't remember which.
Was it when you came back when I was regenerating and we went back to the Powell estate for that little bit?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was, and I was, yeah. So it was very weird going from playing, you know, Hannah Baxter, the high-class escort, to Rose Tyler by day. Very strange experience. it's probably I think it's very hard to do that. It's very hard to go and do an acting. I think a really tricky acting role, and then go back to your family. You know, that feels even quite challenging. If it's sort of a heavy piece, you know.
But it can be quite. I think when you're surrounded by the circumstances of whatever you're playing, though, your brain is quite adaptable. You kind of can just go down whatever track you're on while you're there. I think it's outside of that it can be a little bit disconcerting or disorientating. But it's a funny one. I remember. Being at the Royal Shakespeare Company back in the day when they used to do things in rep, and you would do one play in the afternoon and then a different play at night. So you'd do Hamlet in the afternoon and then some light comedy at night. And that felt like it was going to be impossible, sort of the idea of having to do that. But actually, that was sort of easier than doing Hamlet twice. It was kind of easier to just bounce into something very different. So I think maybe sometimes the thought of it is more difficult than the actuality of it.
I think you get like a muscle memory for each part that you play.
Yeah.
And if you haven't done it for a while, like coming back as Rose, even in the Big Finish episodes, I always get panicked that I'm not going to be able to do Rose, and it just happens. Like it's your body remembers. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
Right next to them.
Oh, thank you. First, I want to say I am so excited to be here to see you all because I've been Whovian for almost 15 years. Yeah.
Thank you.
And David, you are my first doctor. Yeah. So my question, thank you very much. My question is for Davey. You as the doctor, you are coming back and you will definitely have a new story, but we don't know what it looks like. So could you imagine how the doctor's life being stay with Donna? Will he go to otherwhere and see other friends? And will he be really relaxed? Thank you. This is my question.
It's hard to know, isn't it? Yeah, you're right, because he's living a domestic life now, which is hard to imagine. And you kind of think, will the forces of darkness leave him alone? Or will they inevitably be drawn to a Sunday barbecue in Chiswick? And any sort of normal life that he tries to lead will somehow be blighted by alien invasion or, I don't know, sort of monsters from the prehistory coming out the drains or something, because that does seem to have been what his life has been up to now. How is he going to be able to switch that off? I don't know. I wonder, will we ever see that? Will these stories ever be told? Maybe that's a Big Finish series. The Doctor at home. He goes to the hardware store. He's
really struggling with his identity.
Yeah.
Because he used to be this how old is he? 900-year-old alien.
Oh, yeah.
Who, fought for humanity, and now he's just this guy.
Now he's trying to remember he's got a voucher for 10 pence off.
Forgot his shopping list. Yeah. And if he doesn't take the bins out, he's going to be absolutely hammered by the wife.
It might not bring out the best in him. Might make him quite problematic. Or he might lean into it hard, I'm fascinated to know, and I look forward to somebody, not me, writing the script. So yeah, let's find out.
Thank you so much for your question. The person behind her.
So I have a question for both of you. If you have a chance to go back to the Doctor Who, but this time not the previous character, instead you're gonna play the villain, which villain will you choose?
Oh.
Whoa. Which villain?
If we went back?
Yeah.
If we went back, which villain would we choose to fight?
No, to play.
Oh, to play.
That's a question, right? Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, that's so hard.
It is really
You mentioned
difficult.
Cassandra earlier. I feel like that's a good role.
Cassandra would be great to play.
Yes.
A full episode of that would be super fun, for sure. But there's possibly a darker one in there.
I'd quite like
The Master.
Yeah, the Master.
That would be amazing.
I'd quite like to go at the Toy Maker, I think. I quite like the silly voices
Yeah, so creepy.
involved in that. That was fun. And Neil Patrick Harris was, he was probably too good.
He was amazing.
He was really good. And that's the trouble. You're attracted to the part because someone's done it really well. But then the worry is you wouldn't be able to match it. So then maybe, I'd also quite like to be in a big rubber suit though as well. I'd quite like to go, maybe for one day. And then it might start to get old and certainly very sweaty. But I'd quite like a day as a Zygon, I think.
Thank you for your question. Up here in the Batman shirt.
My question is for David Tennant.
Hi.
You're my favorite Doctor.
Thank
and
you.
I'm curious, what kind of research did you do for the Doctor?
I watched the show from when I was 3 years old. That's the research I did. I literally watched every single episode and then went back when I was old enough and when they started appearing on VHS. I watched every episode from before I was born. And I was a proper fan. I knew that show inside out. So I didn't really, there wasn't much I had to find out that I didn't know. But really beyond that, then you just get a script, and then it goes from something that feels kind of impossible to filter down because it's meant so much to your 8-year-old self. And then you get the words, and because it was written by Russell, it was great, and it fizzed, and it popped, and it was funny, and it was exciting, and then all I had to do was just do each scene as it came up, really. So, yeah, in some ways it's the role that I've researched most in my entire career. And in other ways, I just really turned up and did it.
Good answer and good question. Right up here in the front. Yes, in the dark jacket, yeah.
I have this question for Billy about Penny Dreadful. Did you have a favorite scene to shoot?
Favorite scenes to shoot?
I liked shooting our goodbye on the beach. Even though that was really sad, I love shooting that. I love being on the beach. I love how moving it was, just in a sort of elemental way. It just felt very powerful as an experience. I love playing. Well, I love the Cassandra stuff. I really, really enjoyed that. Soup and a Sandwich, I loved. You know, the Christmas episode. It's your episode. It's your thing.
My arrival.
Your arrival.
Yeah.
I loved all of that. That was great.
Yeah.
That was very exciting. What about you?
A single scene.
God, do you have so many killer scenes?
So many lovely stuff.
Favorite speeches as well.
Some of me, that first speech I had where I kind of come out of the TARDIS and talk for about 10 minutes. And that bit, I think my favorite joke was when I quote The Lion King without realizing I'm doing it. That was I loved that. And then a sword fight with a Sycorax on the wing of a spaceship. Yeah. That was sort of probably that first bit, because that was the first bit I did, was so kind of overwhelmingly terrifying, but also really fun to do, just because it was Russell's writing was so
also
good.
it was theatrical, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
It had
You're
the
right.
theatrics
You're
about it. You know,
right.
big long speech, a fight.
Yeah.
In a dressing gown.
Yeah.
It felt like being on stage,
Yeah.
I would imagine.
That's probably true. So many though. So many. The Bad Wolf Beach was a very special moment for sure. And I think about that. And and that moment in Journey's End when we're all in the TARDIS together, just flying the TARDIS, all the big gang together. That was fun. But lots of them.
I just love acting flying on the TARDIS.
Yeah.
It's just watching everyone new come in and watching them do it as well. Hold on! Everyone had their own style.
You always had to get a foot up, I always felt. I always
You
felt like
did.
unless you didn't have a foot up, it wasn't working.
Did you have to coordinate directions? Was someone yelling like, we're going left and we're going right? Or was everyone just...
I think there was a bit of that, yeah.
Yeah, I think there was...
We didn't need much encouragement, though. We were pretty good at flinging ourselves around.
It just used to make me die, you operating the TARDIS. just like watching a kid play in his bedroom.
If you were to operate the TARDIS at any time, Billie, how do you think you'd do it? Just asking for a friend.
Do you know, I've never once thought about it. Take a break.
Take off the break.
Take off the break.
Step one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your question. Right here in the red.
I'm Talia. I'm from Minnesota, but I'm going to college here in California. And I was wondering if you were able to steal a TARDIS or the TARDIS, when and where would you go?
When and where would you go if you could steal a TARDIS?
Oh, yeah, I would always go back to my childhood, for sure. And even though I should probably go to massive historical events, and maybe I do that after, but I'd love to go back to my old house when I was a little kid and just watch that.
To watch yourself, to see
Not
yourself.
necessarily to watch myself, like to maybe see my mum and dad in the throes of romance. Or, you know, or I don't know, remember my brother being born, or just those things that you just have these tiny moments left, you know, in your mind, but to actually see, you know, the full picture could be both brilliant and also, oh.
Yeah.
God, that looked really bloody stressful. I don't know. I also sort of feel like the swinging 60s in London would be amazing. I suppose that's your Beatles thing again.
Is that? Yeah, that's the thing. I'm really fascinated with those moments, like the Beatles in the cavern, or the first performance of Hamlet. Those moments that kind of change cultural history. Do they feel like it at the time? I'd quite like to go back and see if it felt special and electric and
Or
like
it just felt
something
like
was
another
changing,
day.
or if it was just another sort of
Rainy day in London.
yeah, another noisy sort of band playing in the in the corner of a club somewhere, or whether you could tell there was something that was going to change culture forever. I'm quite interested in those moments, I think.
That's why the Beatles that Beatles film was just so good.
So good.
Because it was too good to be true almost. It felt like it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you have that level of access?
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your question. Right here, let's go here and then we'll. Yes, with the blonde hair.
Yeah, blonde hair, red jacket. Yes. Oh.
Okay, so this question relates to the 50th and 60th anniversary specials. In the 50th anniversary special, there's a character called the Curator, who is the doctor who has retired and returns to old faces. Do you think maybe your character, Mr. Tennant, is the Curator?
Do I think that the Doctor is the Curator, or just looks like an earlier version?
Your retired doctor, who's with Donna.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
The one who's in the back garden in Chiswick eating Bonnie Langford's macaroni cheese, then turns into an older, earlier version of himself and becomes the Curator. I mean, that's a very good theory.
Yeah.
It's a very good theory. What would that mean? Does that mean I play it in the 70th anniversary? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There was never a satisfactory explanation as to quite who the Curator was. Was that that I heard? No. I don't know. I suppose... super heavily implied. It was played by Tom Baker, for sure. I don't know. It's an interesting theory. But again, I'm not writing the scripts.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your question. I think there was someone over there that people are pointing at. Yes.
I had a question for you. I need to move backwards. My name is David, and I am fascinated with the character of Doctor Who. I love the imagination, and I love how it's really inside of the family story now, and how the shows themselves are really able to match the show and the feelings and the family and the creativity and all of the things that come together. And then all of a sudden, bam, there's an emergency. And the doctor comes in and he knows exactly what to do. And I really enjoy how that works. But those flashbacks and then flash forwards of the doctor, I want to know kind of how, I want to know what kind of series that we're going to continue to see, if we're going to see more flashbacks, more flash forwards, and more interesting little tidbits of the characters. Do you think that's going to happen, or do you think they're going to make a whole movie about all of these things? Those are my questions.
Sorry, can you say can you ask the actual? Yeah, I just couldn't hear the actual part of the question. Sorry, it's just because I think the mic was not as loud as it could have been.
You didn't hear me. Do you foresee a Doctor Who movie using your characters and all of the family and everything that you've seen and happened so far, and all of the tidbits of their personalities and flashbacks and flash forwards? Do you foresee a movie happening like that?
Do you foresee a film?
And if that happens, would you guys play those characters?
Do we foresee a movie?
A movie coming out, and would you play the characters and return to film a movie?
Yes.
Sure.
I always was pitching for that. Where's the film?
Where's the movie?
And we're the ones. I loved it that people went to see the last Doctor Who episode in the cinema.
Yeah.
I just love that. I would love the Doctor Who experience on the big screen. And it would be, I mean, they're sort of like films anyway. But yeah, I'd do that, wouldn't you?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're available.
Coming soon to a theater near you. I think we have time for one last question up here in the white.
Hi, I'm Amy, birthday twin.
Birthday twin.
Yeah, I'm from West Virginia. I wanted to know, because Doctor Who was like the first piece of media that really impacted me, and for so long that I don't even remember like how I got into it, because I just turned 20 and it's just been such like a big part of my life. And I wanted to know what piece of media maybe or whatever impacted you and made you want to do film, because I'm studying to do film now and hopefully I get to work on Doctor Who, but like that's just a really big dream of mine. But yeah, thank you.
What stories impacted you and inspired you to become actors?
Well, for me, it was Doctor Who. It was. I watched.
Full circle.
It was watching. I remember watching John Pertwee turn into Tom Baker. I was 3 years old, and I can remember watching it and being inspired, really, and having whatever understanding I had at that age. It definitely started a conversation and a beginning of a beginning of a journey that took me to do what I do today. I mean, it wasn't the only thing, but it was definitely something that I, as a kid, became very obsessed with and watched every week. In the days when you had to be there at 5:25 on a Saturday when the show came out, or you didn't get to see it before video recorders and streaming and all that, it was a sort of an appointment every week, because there was something about that storytelling, something about those characters, those actors, that just got me, and that definitely influenced the direction that my life took. So yeah. Oh, that's very lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, I think mine was quite varied. I think I was so impacted by Disney movies when I was a kid. I think now, like when I work on things from the ground up, either if I'm writing something or even I directed a film, and I remember thinking so many instincts I have, I think are sort of, I don't know, they have a sort of fantastical Disney quality to them. They're not, it's like dealing with heavy themes, but dressing it up in a sort of, in my mind at least, in a sort of abstract Disney way. It feels like a really fun way to tell hard stories and make them palatable. So I think I've been really influenced by Disney movies, and Tim Burton movies as well. Like Beetlejuice was one of my favorite films, and just transformed the way I thought about films. And then in terms of female characters, I was completely changed by Samantha Morton piece of acting. I was watching, which I shouldn't have been watching, Band of Gold, which was a show about prostitutes with my mum. I don't know why the hell I was watching that. Anyway, I remember seeing her do this performance, and I was so moved by it. And I'd not seen women behave in that way before, because, I've been watching Disney for the last 12 years. So I I hadn't seen women feel dangerous on screen. And I remember turning to my mum and going, I want to do that for a living. And things like Betty Blue, and just women behaving in ways that I'd seen more in life, but hadn't seen as much on screen, that sort of changed the way I thought forever. But it's so changed by films. I mean, films for me were like, just changed my life. They meant so much to me. They changed everything.
Thank you so much for your question. Thank you all for coming today. A big round of applause for our amazing guests, David Tennant and Billie Piper.
Hi, this is Amanda Tapping. Thanks for watching. And it doesn't matter if your reproductive organs are on the inside or the outside. You can still enjoy Fandom Spotlight. Have fun and follow your fandom.